Welcome to this episode of Bible Topics Discussion. We're happy you joined us today and hope this episode will be informative. We're talking about the scribes in the Bible. Who were the scribes?
Have you ever been reading along in the Bible and you come across the phrase scribes and Pharisees and wondered about who they were and what their purpose was? This week we'll look into the scribes. Next week we'll see the Pharisees. In most places in the Bible they are mentioned together, but there is a difference in them. I found this bit of information about scribes online. In the Bible, scribes were learned individuals responsible for studying, interpreting, and teaching the scriptures. They were experts in the law of Moses and played a significant role in the religious and social life of Israel. Initially, they served as transcribers of God's law and later became interpreters, teaching the Torah and applying its principles to daily life. Scribes were often associated with the Pharisees and were respected for their knowledge and dedication to the law.
Scribes were used for centuries and not always for religious purposes. Sometimes they did secretarial duties and were notary publics. Sometimes they were copyists and made copies of manuscripts before automatic printing came on the scene. They were prominent in many Asian countries, the Roman Empire, and the medieval Europe. They pretty much fizzled out when the printing press came along. Although in areas with low literacy rates, you can still sometimes find street corner letter writers and readers.
In the Bible, we see that the prophet Ezra was a scribe, as it says in Ezra chapter 7, verse 6. This Ezra went up from Babylon, and he was a scribe, skilled in the law of Moses, which the Lord God of Israel had given. And the king granted him all he requested, because the hand of the Lord his God was upon him.
So you see, apparently not all of the scribes were bad guys, since it says that Ezra was one, and Bible scholars attribute the writing of the book of Ezra to this Ezra the scribe. He was also a priest. I suppose we can thank the scribes for preserving the Old Testament for us. However, it was the scribes who became so taken with their jobs that they added to the law and made it nearly impossible for anyone to hold up under it. They liked to spell out the letter of the law without paying attention to the spirit of the law.
After Jesus came along, there were a number of confrontations between Jesus and the scribes because Jesus pointed out their hypocrisy and legalism. They liked to call people out on their sins or supposed sins when they were doing the same thing or worse. There are a number of passages in the Bible that describe Jesus' distaste for the scribes, but let's just get an idea of how Jesus felt about the scribes by reading this one, which is in Matthew chapter 23, verses 13 through 15, which says, "But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you shut off the kingdom of heaven from people. For you do not enter in yourselves, nor do you allow those who are entering to go in. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you devour widows' houses, and for a pretense you make long prayers. Therefore you will receive greater condemnation. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you travel around on sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he becomes one, you make him twice as much a son of hell as yourselves."
Can't you just feel the anger of Jesus as he is addressing these people who are laying a heavy, unnecessary burden on people? The burden is so heavy that it keeps them from knowing Jesus and his salvation. This reminds me of Matthew chapter 19, verse 14, which says, "But Jesus said, Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of heaven. The scribes were teachers of the law of Moses, but they added so much to it that no one could bear up under it. That sort of thing kept people from knowing the truth of salvation. That it is not earned, but is a free gift from God. That sort of teaching still exists with the same results. People can't get to Jesus for all the things they are called on by man and his rules to do to earn their way. Salvation through Jesus is a free gift, not something one earns. God's standard is perfection, and no one is perfect. Jesus was the only one who has ever been or ever will be perfect. That's why salvation is found only through him.
That's right. Well, that's it for this week. Please like, comment, and share, and let us know if you have questions or suggestions for future videos. We'd love to know your ideas. If you're ever in a conversation with someone and they ask about scribes, now you'll have an explanation. And you can also provide information on why Jesus was not fond of them.
See you next week. Be blessed.